If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right and still falling behind, stay with me. Because what I'm about to show you will change how you see your own paycheck forever. This isn't about working harder or earning more. It's about a hidden mechanism running quietly behind every deposit that hits your account, one most people never notice because it was never meant to be noticed. So if you've ever wondered why the raises keep coming but the security never does, keep watching, because by the end of this, your paycheck is never going to look the same again. There's a woman named Priya who has worked the same job for 14 years, earns $91,000 a year, and has less than $6,000 saved. And there's a man named Doug who drives a forklift at a distribution center, earns $52,000 a year, and quietly owns $400,000 in investments. Same 14 years, same paychecks landing every 2 weeks. Completely different outcomes. Most people assume the size of the paycheck decides who wins. That assumption is wrong, and it's wrong in a way that's been engineered on purpose. Today, I'm going to show you why your paycheck was never designed to make you wealthy. It was designed to make you dependent. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the exact mechanism keeping millions of hardworking people locked into a cycle they think is normal, when it's actually a trap with a schedule. Priya works in medical billing for a hospital network. Her paycheck arrives every other Friday, and by the following Wednesday, it's essentially gone. Rent, car payment, insurance, streaming subscriptions she forgot she signed up for. A weekly dinner out that feels like a reward for surviving another week. None of it looks reckless. None of it looks like the reason she's broke. That's the first thing nobody tells you about the paycheck system. It doesn't fail because people are irresponsible. It fails because it's built on a rhythm that never gives money a chance to sit still long enough to grow. Here's the mechanism. Your paycheck arrives on a fixed schedule every week, every 2 weeks, or twice a month. Your bills are due on a fixed schedule too, but they're almost never the same schedule. So your brain learns to treat every incoming paycheck as already spoken for before it even lands. Financial researchers call this the liquidity treadmill. Money comes in, obligations absorb it within days, and the cycle resets. There's no pause between earning and spending long enough for a person to ask the only question that actually matters. What if I paid myself before I paid everyone else? Doug, the forklift driver, stumbled onto the answer by accident. 11 years ago, his company switched him to a retirement plan with automatic contributions, and because changing the default took more effort than leaving it alone, he never changed it. 7% of every paycheck disappeared before he ever saw it. He didn't notice for almost a year. That's the entire story. He didn't discover some secret investment strategy. He simply never got the chance to spend money he never touched. Priya, meanwhile, had access to the exact same kind of plan and opted out in her first month because she said she, quote, needed the extra cash flow right now. 11 years later, needing the extra cash flow right now is still exactly where she is. Let's talk about numbers, because the numbers are where this stops being a nice story and starts being a warning. 7% of a $52,000 salary is roughly $3,600 a year. That's $300 a month. Most people assume $300 a month is nothing. A rounding error? The cost of a few takeout orders. Over 11 years invested in growing at a conservative 7% average return, that $300 a month becomes just over $58,000 in contributions that compound into more than $90,000. Add Doug's raises over a decade, and the number climbs even higher. He's not rich because he's disciplined. He's rich because the money left before his brain got a vote. Now here's the deeper revelation, the part that should genuinely unsettle you. The paycheck system isn't neutral. It's not an accident that money arrives right when bills are due and disappears right when the next paycheck is still 10 or 12 days away. Payroll cycles were standardized around industrial-era convenience, not around human financial well-being. Add to that a financial industry that profits every single time you carry a balance, finance a purchase, or run short before payday, and you start to see the shape of something larger. Credit cards exist to catch you in that gap. Buy now, pay later apps exist to catch you in that gap. Even the culture of direct deposit, so convenient, so invisible, means most people never physically see their money before it starts disappearing into automatic payments they set up and forgot about. The contrarian idea here is simple. and it will feel uncomfortable the first time you hear it. Your paycheck was never meant to make you wealthy. It was meant to keep you functioning. Functioning and wealthy are not the same thing, and the system doesn't distinguish between them because it doesn't need to. As long as you show up to work and your bills get paid, the system considers itself successful. Whether you ever escape it isn't measured anywhere. Here's where it gets even more interesting, because this isn't just about retirement accounts. Think about the last time you got a raise. A genuine, real, well-earned raise. Within a few months, did your monthly expenses somehow rise to match it? A slightly nicer apartment, a newer car, a few more nights out because, well, you can afford it now. Researchers who study consumer spending call this lifestyle creep, and it's not a coincidence. It's not weakness. It's a predictable response to how income and identity get tangled together. The moment more money arrives, your brain starts hunting for ways to spend it that feel proportional to your new status. Doug avoided this trap in one very specific way. Because 7% of his raises also went automatically into his retirement account by percentage, not by fixed dollar amount, his lifestyle only ever got to spend 93% of any increase. He never felt deprived because he never saw the other 7% as his money to begin with. Priya's raises, on the other hand, went entirely into her checking account, and every single one of them found a new obligation within a month. A better apartment when she got promoted, a newer car when the promotion after that came through. Each decision felt completely reasonable in isolation. Nobody sits down and thinks, I am going to trap myself financially today. But 14 years of reasonable decisions, made without ever changing the underlying system, produced a woman earning $91,000 a year with less than $6,000 to her name. This is the emotional core of the entire problem, so sit with it for a second. It is entirely possible to work hard, get promoted, become more skilled, earn more money every single year, and still end up with nothing to show for it, because the paycheck was never structured to protect your future self. It was structured to fund your present self, completely and immediately, unless you interrupt that structure on purpose. So here's how you interrupt it. First, understand that percentage-based automation beats willpower every single time. Doug never had a conversation with himself about discipline. He simply made the removal automatic and let his spending adjust around whatever was left, the same way water finds the lowest available path. Second, treat every future raise as a fork in the road. The moment your income increases, redirect at least half of that increase into savings or investments before your monthly budget has a chance to expand around it. You keep the other half to actually enjoy your progress, because deprivation never lasts, but proportion does. Third, separate the account where your paycheck lands from the account where your future is being built. If the money is visible and reachable every time you check your balance, your brain will eventually find a reason to spend it. Distance creates discipline that willpower cannot. The biggest insight in all of this is not that Doug is smarter than Priya, or that forklift operators secretly out-earn hospital administrators. The insight is that wealth was never actually about the paycheck. It was about what happens to the money in the gap between receiving it and spending it. Priya's gap was seconds. Doug's gap was permanent, built by a system he never had to think about twice. The paycheck itself was never the trap. The absence of a system to interrupt it was. If you take one thing from this video, take this. Stop asking how to earn more and start asking what happens to the money the moment it lands. Because somewhere right now, there is a person earning less than you, living in a smaller apartment, driving an older car, who is quietly becoming financially free, simply because their money never got the chance to disappear. And there's nothing stopping that person from being you, starting with your very next paycheck. So let's be honest for a second. If any of that felt uncomfortably familiar, the raise that vanished before it even landed, you're not bad with money. You just never got told which variable actually matters. Here's what I want to know. What's your real savings rate? Not your salary. Drop it in the comments below, even if it's zero. Especially if it's zero. I read everyone, and some of my best future topics come straight out of that comment section. And if you'd rather see it in black and white than do the math in your head, I made a free savings rate cheat sheet. Links in the description, download it, and find your own row on that table. If this made you rethink what rich actually means, hit like. It tells the algorithm this actually helped someone, not just entertained them. And subscribe, because breaking the high-income poverty trap isn't a one-video fix. It's a series, and I'm just getting started. See you in the comments.